All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Going to be touching on the top prop bets in the NFL in Week 13 for both PrizePicks and Underdog. But because we have a limited board, I'm going to give you guys the Underdog bet of the day right away. We have 3 good prop bets that we should be targeting on the board right now. We only have 1 good PrizePicks prop bet on the board, so I'll be showing you guys those 4 bets and then just my overall favorite bets for Week 13. So if you guys are some of that bets on traditional sportsbooks as well, that'll help you guys out here. Make sure to give a like to the video. That does help out a lot. Let's go ahead and get into the bets. All right, guys, so we are starting out here with the Underdog board that we have, showing you guys just the cheat sheet right now. We have 3 good bets on the board right now for NFL. We have Budda Baker for under 2.5 assists. We also have Terrion Johnson for under 1.5 assists as well. Both of those have an over 54% edge. And honestly, I think we could stop there. I don't mind betting Gus Edwards to get under his fantasy score. To me, that's basically a bet on him not scoring a touchdown. And I do think it's worth calling out here right now, guys. Like, we look at his anytime touchdown, it's at 1.12. I think it's worth calling out that J.K. Dobbins is going to be out in this game, so it will be Gus Edwards being the lead running back. Let's say there's like a DPI, which for some reason, like I feel like there's going to be a DPI that gets the ball on the 1 yard line, and then Gus Edwards gets a rushing touchdown. That's just kind of my feeling on it, but obviously the data is telling us to bet the under fantasy score there. If you guys have been following the channel for the past, 3 slates or so, if you will, we've been on the wrong side of some touchdowns, and so like that tells me that, all right, we're going to be on the good side of some touchdowns in the sense of Vegas being more right this week, basically. And so kind of a toss up there. If you guys just want to go with the 2 assist prop bets, obviously those are pure EV bets, and I feel pretty good with that. Now, obviously, I can't guarantee that these bets are still going to be available by the time some of you guys are watching this. I am releasing this video on Saturday evening. The holidays and whatnot, that's just when I could get the video out. But nicely enough, we are getting some good EV bets as I'm recording this video. So if you guys are watching this, make sure to place these bets. These are some very solid bets that we have. And I believe there's some profit boosts going on right now on Underdog as well on the app. I'm on desktop right now, so I can't see that myself. And then, guys, real quickly, I want to show you guys the PrizePicks board as it sets right now as well. Just looking at these NFL ones, what we're going to notice is that we literally have 1 good bet right now. 1. And that's going to be Geno Smith to get over his fantasy score. Now, he gets an interesting matchup. It's a game that should stay close. It's a game that should be pretty high scoring as well, or relatively high scoring. And I would argue he's due to have a better game in this game. The issue with the Seahawks in general is just that Geno and really the offense struggles for the first half and then gets things going in the second half. We need some good first half production if he's going to get this over. But all in all, I think that's a good bet. And for what it's worth, I don't hate Drake May to get over his fantasy score as well. But we are really just getting 1 good bet on the board. And if you look at it, we're going to notice that the PrizePicks line is a little bit lower than the average sportsbook line, than the Underdog line. The projection data is more on par, though, with that as well. So definitely not a lock and load. 1 good bet there. And so now we're going to go ahead and shift into kind of what my favorite bets are as it sits right now. I got about 6 that I want to call out. And so the first bet that I like is going to be Derek Carr to get over 222.5 passing yards. This is very much twofold here. 1, it's a good matchup there going against the LA Rams. If we pull it up here on the 9-to-5 NFL DFS cheat sheet or NFL cheat sheet with the player props, just click on his passing yards, any of them, doesn't really matter. We're going to notice that the DST, when we adjust it for Derek Carr stats, he still should be able to get over his passing yards. On average, is about 239 passing yards per game. So the matchup with the LA Rams is going to be a very fruitful matchup, or it should be a fruitful matchup for us to chase. And part of that is, as well, I mentioned this a bunch, 2 things. 1, apparently this offense really needs a speed guy. This offense has been better with MVS. Now, MVS has had 2 good games in a row since he's joined the Saints. That's part of it. We know MVS has drop issues. If that 1 big pop play is not there in this game, then obviously Derek Carr's likelihood to get this over is significantly reduced. But 2, the offense does have Taysom Hill back as well. I mentioned this a bunch. That really does help this offense flow. And a lot of people didn't really realize that, I don't think. And so Taysom Hill has been going off, but that's a good thing for someone like Derek Carr, actually. So I do like his over here. Does seem a little bit tight, but at the same time, I'm fine betting it. I feel pretty good about this. If you guys can find another line that's a little bit better elsewhere, by all means, go for it. I have some passing yards pulled up here right now. They're basically all about the same. And actually, the line that we're getting on PrizePicks is not bad. We can see on FanDuel, we're getting about a 50-50 split for him to get over 219.5. If you guys are looking to bet this one on a traditional sportsbook, that's going to be the better route to go. And so another bet that I actually kind of like tonight is going to, or for week 13, is going to be looking at Aaron Rodgers to actually get over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Now, this is a demon bet that's currently available on PrizePicks. That obviously means that this is not a bet that's going to be favored to hit. Now, again, this is more of a traditional sportsbook bet. If you guys want to use this on PrizePicks, you can just know that using a bet like this is not a long-term EV strategy. This is just more trying to get some exposure to some bets on or in week 13. And this will show you guys why. So we look on FanDuel right now as well. We're going to notice that FanDuel is giving him a 42% chance to get over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And so at 136, and we can get this on other sites, 140 on DraftKings, they're giving him a 41% chance to get that over. Some other sites, all right, ESPN Bet, even better, 40% chance. And so if you guys are looking to bet this, you'd want to do it there. Now, this to me is more just due to the Jets coming in off of a bye, getting one more week more acclimated to Davante Adams. Now, it doesn't matter. We know the Jets season is pretty much over, and that's the biggest concern. If they had won 1 or 2 games recently and they still had hopes of the playoffs, I'd be more excited to bet this, but maybe they just pack it in. I don't see that happening. And if they are going to be good to go, they're professionals, then I expect Aaron Rodgers to be able to throw for 2 passing touchdowns in this game against the Seahawks. Like, if it weren't for their season to be over, I would love this bet, honestly. And then I do like the idea of Josh Allen actually having a good day as well, especially for his over passing yards. This one will obviously stick out if you guys are someone that's just scrolling through PrizePicks, which is the reason why I don't like this one. The fact that he has consistently gotten this over and Vegas is still giving us this line. To me, that tells me that he's due to have some sort of regression game. Part of the reason as to why this under might be favored as well is that the fact that he's going to be without Dalton Kincaid, and he's also going to be potentially without Keon Coleman. At the same time, he's going to be one more week acclimated to Amari Cooper being there and being used to the offense. He still has Dawson Knox there, who, besides some dumb plays, he's a good tight end. You still have Khalil Shakir there, who, if you want to pair him up with Josh Allen potentially in some regard, in a stack, I wouldn't mind that. And it's worth calling out that if we kind of just using DraftKings to show you guys this, the opponent rank in terms of fantasy points given up with the Niners is a more difficult matchup. That's true. But when we look at several of the matchups that he's had recently, that's the case as well. Against KC, that was a difficult matchup. Miami has actually been pretty solid. Tennessee's a difficult matchup, or was at least. And so in a lot of these more difficult matchups, he's actually been forced to be more productive, actually. And so I'm on board with betting that over. Now, another player that I like betting on in this game is going to be, or in week 13, especially if we are betting on Geno Smith, is going to be DK Metcalf to get his over receiving yards up 56.5. Now, the issue is he's a little bit banged up. Okay, that's a slight concern, but honestly, if we're getting DK Metcalf at 56.5 receiving yards against the Jets in a game where Geno Smith is projected to play well, I can be on board with that. And we're just hoping that he's going to be healthy, going to be more like himself. And again, we need that first half production. He actually had a good first half last game, and then it kind of fell off. It went basically all the production ended up going to JSN after that. But I would just say he's kind of due for a big game. And so I'm kind of just expecting that to happen. Now, it is the Jets coming in off of a bye. You never know for sure. But again, kind of like the idea of stacking DK in a way with Geno Smith. Now, you could stack him on underdogs, so the payouts not being reduced too much. I think that's a decent way to go about doing it. And so now another receiver that I like is actually Devon Valet. If you guys have been following the channel, I've quietly been hyping him up. I have him a decent amount in best ball drafts. I don't know if anyone does best ball drafts, but I have him in 20% of my best ball drafts, which is kind of crazy. So there's a little bit of bias. The reason why I have him is because we saw through preseason and following preseason that Sean Payton was definitely hyping him up. And I kind of thought that he could be this year's Puka Nacua. And I would argue that take has been pretty darn good, especially in comparison to basically there's no one else that has even come close to that. Little self-pat on the back there. Anyways, the reason why I'm kind of bringing that up is because throughout the middle of the season, he kind of vanished. Sean Payton is annoying. We can't trust Sean Payton. So that's what makes this bet difficult. And that's why I think we're getting such a low line. The Cleveland Browns defense has not been that good. If we look at Devon Valet, he has been able to crush this over consistently. We see the average sportsbook line has given us this at 31. We're seeing the underdog line at 30.5. And then we're seeing the PrizePicks line at 32.5. So if we want to bet this over, we're going to be doing it on underdog. Let's say you don't like that Gus Edwards fantasy score prop bet that I mentioned earlier. You could replace that with Devon Valet for over his receiving yards. And what you'll notice is that the last 3 weeks he has been able to get this over. And the reason why he's been able to get this over in the last 3 weeks is because he's gotten 65% of the snaps. It was like 64, 65, and 68% of the snaps. So the snaps have been there for him. That did happen earlier on in the season as well. This is why Tim Patrick is currently with the Detroit Lions. And so if he gets those snaps again, I expect him to be able to get this over. I mean, just look at the targets, guys. And again, this is not shocking. This is what has happened the few times we have seen it play. Week 1, 8 targets, 8 receptions. Okay, really not shocking. At the time, it was somewhat shocking that he got that much of a role, but it wasn't shocking that, like, that's kind of what was expected. Then he got injured. Then he came back. Week 6, 6 targets, and then there's a lull. And then the last 3 weeks, they've been back to trusting him. And so if he gets 4 targets and does get his over 2.5 receptions, which is the current goblin line for him right now, then I do think he has a great chance to get his over 30.5 receiving yards on Underdog. And then sticking with the receivers, I do want to talk about 2 receivers here for the Patriots. One, Demario Douglas. We're seeing that the line right now in PrizePicks is just vastly too low. It's off by 3 yards compared to Underdog, and Underdog's line is a little bit too low compared to the average sportsbook line. The projection data also really likes the over as well. This is a pretty good matchup for this offense as well, going against the Colts. Now, again, kind of the issue with Demario Douglas is that we haven't really been able to trust the snaps for him. Look at the snap counts, just even going back to week 1, 60, then 56, then 83, then 59, 67, 62, great, then 33, 57, 71, 42, 57, and 68. And so we do need those snaps to be there for him for sure, but we look at the matchup here against the Colts. Again, given the role this is adjusted for, the projected role for Demario Douglas and the role that he's had, gives up about 46.3 yards per game. And which, if we look at the Vegas reception line, his average receiving yards is a little bit lower, but all in all, like looking at the combined data points that we have coming in, he should be able to get this over, assuming that he gets the snaps. And if he doesn't, this other receiver would probably be the reason as to why. And that would be Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne has not been playing a lot of snaps, but he has been very productive. Now, it's another week that he's been healthy, and maybe he starts to see a little bit more snaps. He has looked like their second best receiver. I'd still give Demario Douglas the top receiver there, but let's just say we can get to 60. Let's get to 60% of the snaps. Lock that in. We could then get maybe 4 targets out of him. And if he gets 4 targets again, then I like the over here. That's kind of the issue, is that the lines that I like are all just based off of snaps, which the snaps haven't been reliable with Valet, Kendrick Bourne, and also Demario Douglas. But that's also why we are getting some good edges, because if that role continues to be there for him, in Bourne's case, rises a little bit, we should be in for a good day. So guys, do just want to go through the promos here real quick. If you guys are looking to sign up for Underdog, maybe you guys only play on PrizePicks but are thinking about signing up on Underdog, it has been a good stretch. Been extremely annoying, honestly, for me giving content, because it's been very good for Underdog for like really the past month, I would say. Honestly, probably month. But this past week, like I just hit a 6 for 6 slip, just going based off the top 6 bets on Underdog. I did the same thing on PrizePicks for Flex Friday, ended up going 50%. Very annoying, but there has been a little bit of a better edge there on Underdog. If you guys want to use the promo code or sign up, make sure you use the promo code 9to5. They give you guys a 50% match on a deposit up to $2,000. So if you deposit $2,000, you get $1,000. If you guys are looking to use the 9to5 data, make sure to head on over to 9to5sports.com. Use the promo code KEEPCASH and you get 20% off your first 9to5 month membership. That'll make the $10 membership $8 for the first month. And so again, guys, this is not necessarily my favorite PrizePicks bets. I already mentioned Geno Smith is really the only good one that we currently have, but these are kind of workarounds as well. Like if you guys wanted to bet Geno Smith for over his fantasy score, DK Metcalf is also a good prop bet there with his receiving yards. Maybe you could use on Underdog instead to stack it, because obviously if you stack them together, the payouts can be a little bit reduced. That's not a good long-term strategy. Drake May was also a good over fantasy score bet, only a 53.9% likely to hit, but those are the 2 best. Again, Demario Douglas is another way to go about attacking that. Devon Valet, I do want to call it, guys, better bet on Underdog for him to get over 30.5 receiving yards. That's a better edge there. This is just my way of highlighting my favorite bets as it sits right now. And for what it's worth, guys, like this would be a decent bet on Underdog if you like it. The payout's actually a little bit better on Underdog as I'm recording this video. But that's going to be all for this video, guys. Make sure to give a like to the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it before, comment your guys' favorite prop bet, and fingers crossed that we have a good Sunday this Sunday. That's going to be all, guys. Thank you for watching. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.